Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Bat here. Hope you're doing well. So we got some exciting news earlier this morning that we are getting a new Lord of the Rings movie. A new live-action Lord of the Rings movie. Interesting to get this news. Random. Especially the week that Bernard Hill, who played King Theoden in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, passed away. Now we are getting an animated, the Wrath of the Rohirrim in later this year, and that's going to be an animated film. But we're getting a new live-action Lord of the Rings movie called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Taters. What's taters, Rickets? Potatoes. Eat them, mash them, put them in a stew. I like them warm and wiggly. Now, also in this article, it's going to come out in 2026. So a little bit over 2 years away. It'll probably come out in December, like all the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films did. And this new animated film is also coming out in December of this year. So we got about 2.5 years away. Still a good amount of time. It's going to be directed by Andy Serkis. And obviously Andy Serkis is going to return to play Gollum. And that Peter Jackson is going to be involved. Peter Jackson and his wife Fran Walsh, who's also been the producers of the original trilogy. Peter Jackson obviously directed the original trilogy, and he directed the Hobbit films. Now, how much is he going to be involved? Other than him being a producer? We'll see. Now, Andy Serkis is going to direct. I have two ways about this. Number one, it would make sense. I mean, he's not doing a trilogy. He's just doing one movie. Okay. Number two, if you look at Andy Serkis' body of work as a director, he did that one movie with Andrew Garfield. I think Claire Foy. Never saw that film. He did that Netflix's Jungle Book movie, which I thought was alright. And he directed Venom 2. Venom Let There Be Carnage. Which, I didn't like that movie. I don't know if it's more in the script or the directing. But I wasn't a fan of Venom 2. I was kind of a little iffy on him directing this movie. But like I said, he's already done Venom, so he's done a bigger budget film. So that's good. But on the other hand, I say, well, this is a guy who was involved in the Lord of the Rings films. He was involved in the Hobbit films. If there's any world that Andy Serkis knows, it's Middle-earth. It's Lord of the Rings. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he does it. Well, no, he's going to be Gollum. He's going to be doing all that motion capture work while also directing at the same time. That might be a little much. And maybe that's where Peter Jackson might end up stepping in here and doing a little directing himself. I don't know. Also, I thought about it. Well, this movie's coming out in 2026. What does that mean for Andy Serkis as Alfred in The Batman with Robert Pattinson? They're supposed to start shooting that next year, probably around the same time they shoot this Gollum movie. Are they gonna end up having to recast Alfred? Or is Alfred's gonna have a very small role in the Batman part too? Which would be a little, I wouldn't be too happy about that because I want to see that relationship between Bruce Wayne and Alfred like we got in the Nolan films. The thing is, I'm going to assume this movie takes place either before The Hobbit or in between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Because it's called The Hunt for Gollum. Yeah. Is this... And then I asked myself, is this movie really needed? Wouldn't we rather have movies that are after Lord of the Rings? You know, The Hobbit is like the prequel to Lord of the Rings. Why don't we get a movie after Lord of the Rings? You know, 100, 200 years later. I don't know, and then, like, then you gotta ask yourself, well, who's gonna return from the original trilogy? Anybody from the original trilogy gonna return? Are we gonna find a way to put Legolas in this movie like he was in The Hobbit? Even though he had no business being in The Hobbit? We're taking the Hobbits to Isengard, Isengard. We're taking the Hobbits to Isengard. I don't know, this is more like an original story that someone wrote. I don't know, I'm excited because I love The Lord of the Rings. I wasn't a fan of the Hobbit films. Also, oh yeah, that's the other thing. Please, for the love of everybody, and I mean everybody, do not shoot this movie in 48 frames per second. Don't do it. It looked horrible in the Hobbit movies. Go back to what you did with Lord of the Rings. Those still hold up way better than the Hobbit. And do as much practical makeup and everything also. Locations, real locations, not green screen. I don't think Gollum is going to be motion captured, but try to limit that down to just Gollum. Let me know in the comments below, are you looking forward to The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum? Still a very odd, interesting, weird route to go. But hey, we're gonna get more Lord of the Rings. It seems like Peter Jackson still wants to stay in Middle Earth. Buddy, you can do other things. You did The Hobbit. You did Lord of the Rings. Well, you did Lord of the Rings first, then you did The Hobbit. And I am glad that Andy Serkis is going to direct, don't get me wrong. If they came out and said Peter Jackson is going to direct, I love The Lord of the Rings, but, so yeah, I'm glad that Andy Serkis is going to direct the movie. I'm not too big on his directing career so far, but if someone who's been in the world since the beginning, since like the 1999, 97, when they started shooting Lord of the Rings, he's been involved for a very, very, very long time. Long time. All good. So, are you excited for a new Lord of the Rings? Are you happy that Andy Serkis is going to be back as Gollum? And he's going to be directing behind the camera? Let me know in the comments below if Peter Jackson is going to be involved too. Let me know your comments below. Love to know your thoughts. If you know, you know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. The one ring to rule them all.